Alright, so in our last video, we were creating this particular YAML file and we just stopped because of the time concern for a particular video. So I'm actually going to not confuse a lot in our first video itself because it's going to be too much of things to be digested. And in this video, I'm going to show you even more details of how this YAML file can be even more used for the build execution. So what I did is I'm just trying to build a particular code. As we saw in our previous video, this is where the whole code execution is actually happening. So I'm just going to build this particular whole code into this particular from this particular folder. So as you can see, this is kind of wrong. I'm actually gonna copy paste this particular stuff from here. So I'm just gonna copy all the files from this particular folder and then I'm just gonna store into this particular folder called app directory. And then I'm going to publish this particular folder into a zip file so that I can use that for my release pipeline. So this is how things are actually going to work in a real time. So I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing even here as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search for a task called publish, and you can see there is something called as publish artifact. Earlier there was something called as copy and publish build artifact, but now it is kind of deprecated. So it is always better to use the one which is currently being supported. So I'm just going to be using this guy. So once I select that, you can see that it automatically says whether you're going to publish this particular file into the Azure pipeline or TFS or a file share. So if you select a file share, it's going to ask you for the path. But as of now, I'm just going to choose the Azure pipeline or TFS. And the artifact name is going to be the drop folder, which is awesome. So I'm then gonna hit the add, and you can see that it has also added this particular stuff for me. So now that I have like two tasks here, this one is for the copy and the next one is for the publish artifact, which is pretty awesome. I'm just gonna save this and I'm gonna say that added tasks for the build pipeline, and then I'm gonna hit save. So this way it's going to commit once again. And now if I hit run, you can see that the build has been queued. And once I click that guy, you can see that it is waiting for the agent to get my job basically. And it has got that agent, which is nothing but the hosted Ubuntu. And now it is checking out the code, which was pretty faster. And then it is now trying to build. And you can see that now we have something called as copy files and publish build artifact. So these are two new tasks which has been added based on how we have actually created this particular job. And you can see that in our earlier versions we did not have this. You can see it was not there, but now we actually have something called as copy files and stuff. So now if you go to the copy file, you can see that pretty faster things are actually happening. So it found 7 files to copy from this particular directory to this particular directory into the VSTS folder. This is what we selected actually. And then it also made a build artifact publish over here into the drop folder. And this is exactly what we told in that particular operation. And now if you go to the summary, you can see that now we have really cool thing. This is exactly what we are looking for while we'll actually be doing an automation testing with Selenium. So you can see that we now have a drop folder for that particular project that we have. And once I click this and once I hit the view content over here, you can see that it is going to directly browse me into the particular zip file, which is pretty awesome. And then I can directly see the folder name that I gave, the app dir. And within that, I have all the DLL files, which is something built using the build that we have made, and all the files has been added for us, and then we can then perform a deployment of this particular app into an IIS or things of that nature. So we can do all sort of jazz using this particular YAML file tasks. So this is how we can actually perform and build, and then we can also deploy things. But now you can see that there are so many things that we have to discuss actually, which is kind of pretty new to you while you are actually looking at this particular course. We are going to be discussing about all those theoretical part starting our next video.